Girl Talking Grace, Breaking Chains edition, but this one I titled, What You Hide is What Holds You. Okay, so over the last few times, we've talked about how patterns are formed, how we get stuck in loops, that dopamine loop, and why it's so hard to let go, attachments. And we talked about how our brain builds pathways and how you repeat what brings relief. And how emotional attachment keeps pulling you back to what feels familiar. But today I'd like to go a little deeper, because now that we can see the pattern, we have to ask what's underneath it and why does it still have access to us? Because patterns, they don't just start on the outside. They're rooted in something. And they stay because something hasn't been healed or surrendered. So I want to give you a quick story from the Bible so you can see this clearly. And shout out to Thea and Teresa and Dreama and Priscilla. We did a Bible study on this story, and that's where I made this connection. Okay, but there was a man named Achan, which is the English pronunciation, and I believe in Hebrew is Achan. He was a part of God's people, led by Joshua, who took over after Moses. And God had given them very specific instructions when they went into battle. He said, don't take anything from the city. Now, up until this point, God had been giving them victory after victory. But Achan, he saw something that he wanted, and he took it, and then he hid it in his tent. And nobody knew. Everything looked fine until they went into another battle and they lost. And Joshua, their leader, he was left confused, like, God, what happened? And God says, well, there is sin in the camp. Not that Achan sinned. There is something present. They bring everyone forward, tribe by tribe, family by family, until Achan is revealed. And when they go to his tent, they realize he hid, everything that he hid, it was still there, and he had buried it under his tent. And here's something that we have to pay attention to, because God didn't expose Achan immediately. He didn't say his name right away. He didn't even call him out in front of everyone from the start. He gave him time. He said, there is sin in the camp. He didn't say, Achan, it's you. Why? Because God gave him an opportunity to come forward on his own, to confess it, to bring it into the light, to surrender it willingly. But Achan didn't. He stayed quiet. And as the process got closer and closer and closer, until it was just him left, and only then he confessed. And if we're honest, that's kind of like how a lot of us are. We don't bring it to God when he first shows us. We wait. We wait until it starts affecting things, until it starts getting exposed, until we feel backed into a corner. And then we say, okay, God, your turn, take over. Delayed surrender is still disobedience. But even in that, God was still giving him chances. That wasn't punishment first. That was mercy first. So when you feel that nudge, that conviction, that moment where something in you says, this isn't right, that's not God trying to expose you. That's God inviting you. See, conviction is God giving you the chance to bring it into the light before it has to be exposed. Now, here's why this matters for us. Because what we've been talking about, the patterns, the loops, the attachments, a lot of that's connected to the things that we've buried. Sometimes it's not just, I keep going back. I keep making the same mistakes. It's, I've never healed from that. I never healed from how they treat me, what they said to me, what I went through, what I lost, what broke me. So instead of healing it, I buried it. And when you bury something, it doesn't die. What you bury doesn't disappear. It just waits. And that's where attachment comes from. Because now you're not just connected to a person or a thing. You're connected to what's unresolved in you. You're not going back because they're right. You're going back because something in you is still unhealed. Unhealed places will attach to anything that feels familiar. And if you don't heal it, you will keep returning to something that touches it. And this is why this matters so much. Because Achan, he didn't just take something, he hid it. And what was hidden affected everything and everyone around him. See, what's buried in you doesn't stay contained. It shows up in your life. And then just a little later on in this story, there's like another moment where people came in pretending to be something that they weren't. Everything looked right, sounded right, felt right, and a decision was made without asking God. There's a verse that says, they did not consult the Lord. I believe it's in Joshua 7. So catch this. In one story, something was hidden, and in the other, God was never invited in. Sometimes we're stuck, not just because of what we've hidden, but because of what we never surrendered or invited God into. Because if we get honest, there's things that we hide, we avoid things, and sometimes we just move without God. That relationship, you didn't ask God. That decision, you move fast. That reaction, you didn't PPP. Pause, pray, then proceed. See, what you hide will affect you. What you don't heal will attach to you. What you don't surrender will control you. What you don't invite God into, you will carry on your own. So now we see something deeper. There are layers. What's hidden, what's unhealed, and where God was never invited in. So the real question isn't just, well, why do I keep going back? Could be, what do I need to heal? Or what do I need to surrender? Freedom begins where healing and surrender meet. So right now, just take a few moments. No talking, no distractions. Either right now or even after. I just want you to sit with it. Sit in His presence and ask God, show me, what have I been hiding? What haven't I healed from? What haven't I surrendered? Show me where I've been moving without you. And if you feel comfortable, what came up for you? Leave it in the reply. Let others see that they're not alone. Don't ignore it. Don't numb it. Don't bury it. When something comes up, pause. Sit with it. Bring it to God. And start healing it honestly. And next time I get on here to talk, we're going to talk about something really important. Because it's one thing to see it, face it, and start healing it. But the question becomes, how do you actually stop going back for real? And see, we've uncovered the pattern, exposed what's hidden, faced what's unreal, and started surrendering it. But we're not done yet. Talk to you next time on Girl Talking Grace.